Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by Bubba Myron.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the most influential podcast you are currently listening to right now. We are glad to have you here for another broadcast. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely, man. Nothing but love for everybody joining us week in and week out. We greatly appreciate you guys, especially to everybody who is, hey, listen, we got a bunch of podcast listeners over on the Spotify and all the podcast platforms. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, all that good stuff, 5-star ratings and reviews. Of course, we love everybody over on our YouTube channel. It seems to be the big home now. YouTube.com. Yes. Look, our handle is @TappedOutPod, shockingly. Or you can just Google Tapped Out Podcast Network, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Right there on YouTube, do the search, man. You'll find us. And because, hey, I do a little early stuff. You get the show early. I'm trying to do more of that little bonus stuff.
Always grab our handle whenever you can.
Exactly. You like buy everything by the handle, right? Isn't that what they call those big bottles?
Speaking of handles, our good friend G-Pie had his 53rd birthday. Want to congratulate him on that. He's quite the character. We get to see him every year at WrestleCade. And speaking of WrestleCade, Nick, what has happened this week?
We got our tickets, man. We bought our tickets.
Yes.
As soon as they went on sale. Listen, and it's one of the events that I'm really big on. I will endorse it time and time again. Check out WrestleCade, man. Tracy and Brian and those guys do a phenomenal job up there. Think about this. We are in March. We bought tickets for an event that is Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
Like, that's how much we look forward to it. And if you look, because here's the thing. One year I tested it, was just like, I'll get them later. Next thing I know, like, the package we normally buy was gone.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't do that anymore. I was like, I got to just get them and be, boom. Because it is a great time.
Do you look forward to Christmas, Nick? Even though it's your birthday.
Yeah, sure.
Do you look forward to Thanksgiving?
Yes, I love food.
But what do you really look forward to?
We look WrestleCade, man. We look forward to it every year. Yeah, WrestleCade weekend is a blast.
I got pictures with the dirty white boy. Okay? I got pictures with the one-man gang. Jessica Havoc. Oh, God, what a great weekend. And just seeing friends, old friends I only see once a year. It's just so cool.
I mean, Hoop,
I can't wait.
Jay-Z, Rave, on and Dave. Look, Dave goes with us. Dave's there every year. But then, like you said, where else do you just randomly get pictures with Jeff Jarrett? With, just pick and choose your battles, right?
Your friends show up. It's like a giant club. It's like a clubhouse for wrestling fans. I can't endorse it enough. The hotel there is wonderful. I can't say enough about it. It's a great place to stay. There's all kind of great places to eat. We just have a blast. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a lovely trip. Folks, put that on your calendar every year. Go to WrestleCade. They got great wrestling shows up there too. You get a great weekend of wrestling shows. You get the big fan fest, which is the part I look forward to more than anything. And then all your friends. And we have our great friend, the ambassador, Dave Wills, the man who knows everyone that's ever been in professional wrestling. He's along with us at all times. And before you go, I suggest you check out our friends at Pro Wrestling Tees to get the exclusive source for Tapped Out Pod merchandise and t-shirts. That's the best place to get them, folks. And they have quality stuff. This shirt is probably older than your children. Almost as old as my children. Get you some shirts so they're good quality, durable stuff. And I found, while I was doing a lot of laundry this week, I found so many shirts I've purchased. So many different. I found Dr. Tom Pritchard shirts. I found shirts from all of my favorite wrestlers that they have for sale there. These are good quality shirts. They last forever, and I cannot endorse them enough. So look there and follow them for any of your wrestling t-shirt needs. And they have them in big men sizes too.
That's always a big plus. Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree. That's the biggest plus of anything.
Yes.
But look, hey, before we dive in, we're going to talk a little Bloodline is all look because you can't have a wrestling show without discussing the Bloodline right now. John Cena returns on Raw. We had a pay-per-view in AEW. QT Marshall making an impact, down in AEW now in front of the screen as well as behind the scenes. Yes. And who knows? We might even discuss a little football. We don't know. We'll see. If I don't listen, if
prior to the show, Nick explained a lot of quarterback contracts, NFL contract structure to me, and the salary cap issues. Now, I'm not a dumb human being, but this stuff was complicated AF. Okay. I don't follow professional sports. I follow college sports, but I follow professional wrestling mostly. And I don't need to know about the money for professional wrestling, and the money for college sports is, that's all under the table. So I like that the most.
Although with the NIL deals now, it's on top. Now that's up front again.
Well, yeah, really. But it's the stuff he explained to me. If we get to that today, it is mind-blowing how much money these people make and how their deals are structured. Jesus Christ.
And if not, hey, look, man, if we don't get to it, maybe I'll cut that. We'll cut something and put that behind the paywall.
And I've got coffee in my Grogu mug. Are you watching Mandalorian? You said
I am.
Jesus Christ. It looks so good. It is probably the most beautiful TV show I've ever seen. And Bo-Katan, oh God, she is doing so great this season. I mean, I bought her Funko Pop. I might have a small crush on her. I hate to say it.
Yeah, man. Look, it's a great time to be a nerd, right? I mean, The Last of Us, OMHMO. By the way, look, I do some evolved entertainment stuff I've shared. Like I did an interview. I shared it on our YouTube channel. They did an interview with Sean Legacy. I talked to, James Caleb Kitchens over there. We're going to start putting some more of their stuff in. They do like a Last of Us. They do a review every week, and I think they're going to do some Mandalorian stuff. So, like, I may share some of those here and there, but definitely go check them out and subscribe to them on YouTube as well to get some of that. So you'll kind of be up to speed. Oh. Look, we MB Mooney, we share some of his stuff. Any of the stuff we're collaborating with these other channels.
He was talking about the Thrawn trilogy. If you've never read any of the Star Wars novels, the Timothy Zahn stuff, that was the killer stuff that inspired a lot of the Star Wars stuff that you've not seen yet that's coming out in cartoon form. If you haven't watched The Bad Batch, totally killing it right now.
Yeah, lots and lots of stuff, man. Hey, but before we get into all of that, let's make sure we take care of the people who take care of us, our sponsors, our friends over Athletic Greens.
You're going to need a smaller cabinet because now you can take all those supplements you're taking or not taking and replace them with this. AG1 by Athletic Greens brings 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens together in one place. It might just be the most comprehensive and convenient nutritional regimen on the planet. Immunity supporting, recovery enhancing, digestion improving, energy lifting. Made to the strictest quality standards. Made New Zealand. Made for just about everybody.
That's right, man. Check out our friends over Athletic Greens. We greatly appreciate all the support over the time.
I have never been as regular since I've been on Athletic Greens. Having adrenaline in my soul did not do good for me. Athletic Greens has been the better choice. Look into that, people.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, Myron.
Yes.
Let's dive right in, man. Let's dive into this stuff.
Yes.
Because look, it's one of those we don't feel like we have at a time.
Killing it, Nick. How is this? This is the best storyline of recent memory in professional wrestling.
Best modern era storyline, period.
Yes.
In my opinion. Like the way I throw that in there.
Oh, yes, because that's the thing. We're trying, folks, to make sure that we don't Meltzerize this, for lack of a better way to put it. We are just talking about our opinions on this. And in my opinion, this right here is phenomenal. Did y'all see how, okay. Do you watch it all happened on Monday when Jey super kicked Sammy. Okay. And you saw it again, the replay on Friday. Jey came down after the match, you know, and you know, Sammy had done the thing and he got out. And so Jey came down and he's walking out with Sammy and he's looking at Jimmy. And then he pulls Sammy aside to hug him and he says stuff. Now he just makes sure everybody, and he did it from multiple camera angles, saw him talking in Jimmy's ear. Okay. They shot this really well. You could see him saying something, not Jimmy's ear, Sammy's ear. A lot of E's in this one. Okay, you saw him very clearly talking to Sammy's ear. He let go, and then he super kicked him. And like, he did this, oh, you think I'd choose you over my family? And then they threw Sammy in the ring, and Solo came down, and they start punching him and stuff. And then you hear, adrenaline, and then Cody Rhodes comes out. And all of a sudden, it's crazy. Nick, what's your take on all this?
So this is gonna be very deep dive when it comes down to this. By the way, obviously we recorded on Sunday. We released this prior to Raw of this week, so if you're listening midweek, obviously more shit has happened. But we are talking what kind of unfolded on Raw and SmackDown over the past week.
Conspiracy.
Well, I'm going to go on two because it's two conversations. First one, we're going to take everything at face value, right? We're just going to go with what it looks like and going to go with that. I had made a comment about how there were just so many layers to this of things that they accomplished. They took you on a ride where for a split second you were like, oh, he's with Jimmy. Then he puts his hand on him, kind of keeps him at a distance, passes him, and you're like, he's not with Jimmy. Goes outside the ring, has the embrace with Sammy, and they have it. And then you're like, oh, the crowd goes bananas, so they took you up again. Super kick. They pulled the carpet right out from under your feet, took you right back into now you're angry, and everybody's angry about it. Then you bring Cody out. Now, I think there's a very good reason. Because a lot of people are like, well, maybe that's the moment Kevin Owens should have came out and made the save. The conscious decision to choose Cody, in my opinion, was an extremely smart move. Because we were hearing the grumblings of the fans want Sammy, they're going to push back on Cody. Cody being the one who's helping Sammy over these last, by the way, Raw and SmackDown, they're kind of helping each other. How can you really shit on Cody if he's really helping the guy that you want? Like, it's hard to do. They're trying to make it hard for you to push back on Cody, and I think they're doing a pretty good job of it. Would you not agree with that statement?
Oh, get your tinfoil hat on, man. I see conspiracy theories all over the internet. I'm serious. I am totally serious about this, Nick. I've had people posting stuff. Oh, he told Sammy this, but he whispered in Sammy's ear that I got to do this for my brother. Because he's family, and Roman and Paul are going to do this to him, and I do this. But Cody's or whatever Sammy and them go after Cody. What if this is just a plot to lure Cody in, and then Sammy's going to turn on Cody, and we all want Sammy now, but what if Sammy's a bad guy in the end? And Cody's the victim. What if Cody turns out to be a villain? What if Cody turns heel after Mania? Do we want that? What if Roman is left without a single person and Paul Heyman betrays him and goes with Cody and Cody becomes a heel after Mania, Nick?
So I don't know the levels, like you said, how good the storytelling is that we're asking all these questions. Right? Like, we think we got the answers, but we don't. We've got questions like, well, what if? What about this? Or what's going to happen here? Like, I understand the logic of, hey, I've got to protect Jimmy, because remember, prior to Jey committing, it was like, if you don't get your brother back in line, Roman's going to blame you, and he's talking to Jimmy. He's not going to blame Paul. He's going to blame Jimmy. So Jey whispers to Sammy. This is, by the way, one, like I said, the theories that's floating around. Hey, we got to do this for now, but we're all good. Pow, super kick, take out, and then they beat on it. Because you made the comment, oh, they beat him down. And I'm like, did they really? It was a lot of punches and stomps, but there wasn't a chair shot. There wasn't like a low blow. There wasn't one of those things where you're kind of like, that was so bad that you couldn't forgive if he whispered in your ear, hey, we have to do this, but we're cool. Something that simple, right? When they get to Mania, if, just like I said, if that's the moment that they're like, we just got to get these belts off of him. Cody's the guy to get the belts off of him. So we're going to pull the rug out from him there. And that's where we're going to break away from him. If Jimmy and Jey and Solo break away from him there, is Paul genius enough to see it coming that he then branches off? Because look, this is what, third, fourth week in a row I've said, if I were Paul Heyman, I would go with Cody. I would jump ship and say, like, hey, everything's coming to a head. Like, the Usos are done listening to Roman. He's, putting them in, just he's abusing them, and it's an abusive relationship, to say the least. So he's got to break away from them, in my opinion.
Ooh. Only good thing about this time change is, Nick, it brings me an hour closer to WrestleMania. I'm telling you, man, I am an hour closer to WrestleMania, and I am super happy about that. Think about it. Every day, every single WWE show, what do they tell you when it opens? 3 weeks from WrestleMania. I messed up and was looking at my DVR, and I started the wrong episode of SmackDown the other night. And you know what? It didn't bother me at all. It was so good. I watched some of it and then went back and started the right one. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I only knew it was the wrong one because they said 4 weeks to WrestleMania instead of 3. I enjoyed it so much. Yeah, the storytelling was so good.
I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I really do. I think.
And don't even leave out the Austin Theory and John Cena stuff. That chilled me to my very soul. Lord.
Here's the crazy thing. So one, let's not, first and foremost, let's not skip the John Cena conversation without addressing John Cena was in town. He was at the New Nightmare over, in McDonough, and literally was there training. So somebody asked me, and I repeat this, and I understand, trust me, why, if you had the opportunity to train there, would you not train there? You have one of the hottest talents in WWE there, Cody Rhodes. One of the most influential guys in AEW, QT Marshall, that are the 2 head trainers over there, the owners of the Nightmare Factory. And just random appearances of, somebody like John Cena. Oh, by the way, Billy Gunn's there on a regular, training. There's not you can't tell me, if you want to invest in your future, you've got a guy who's at the top of WWE, the guy who's super influential and the top in the power, structure of AEW there. Like, if you want to make it, it's where you probably need to go.
So you're saying if great wrestlers pass through Atlanta, they stop in McDonough at the Power Factory, the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah.
I'm calling it its old name.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't tell you how impressed I've been when we've been at those places and studied that.
I'm dying to get to the new building. I'm dying to get over there.
When QT was first getting started, we went and hung out and watched him teach and watched the classes and met the students and met everything that was going on there. And look at 10 Preston Vance. Look how impressive he was. Okay. Look at he's wrestling on AEW on a regular basis. All the people that came through that school and how great they've done. I can't say enough about it, man. Yeah. Those people are killing it there.
I agree with you. But back to our original point, John Cena returned on Raw last week, depending on when you're listening to this. And it was funny when he was cutting the promo. I was like, it's scary that he is still better than probably 95% of the guys who do it on a weekly basis. He goes out there, cuts a promo, And part of it, I think, was because there was so much truth to what he was saying.
Oh yeah. And so much of it could have been directed at him. Like it could have been, you could have flip-flopped that. And that's why it was so honest and heartfelt. Because he could have been directed at Cena 20 years ago.
Because he basically said, "You're me, you're ruthless aggression era John Cena." He's like, like he understands it. He gets where he's coming from. But I love the aspect of you think you're ready, but you're not. Like, because there's a huge difference between being on WrestleMania, and no offense to anybody on the roster, but 98% of the roster, it's different than wrestling John Cena at Wrestle. It's like saying you were going to wrestle back in the day, right? You're going to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania, Undertaker at WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels, like there's a level that you reach that when you're wrestling those guys, it's not wrestling, just listen, no offense. If you had told me Bobby Lashley, was wrestling Austin Theory. Austin Theory's like, hey, it's Bobby Lashley. I understand that. That ain't John Cena.
No, but I mean that's not a needle mover in my opinion. If you want to give Austin Theory a match that makes people pay attention to it, it's John Cena. If you want to make somebody, if you want to put people's attention on your match, it's John Cena. You want to give somebody credibility, it's John Cena. You want to make little kids watch it, it's John Cena. John Cena is name recognition. Okay?
But that's the truth to what John said was, but then you got to deliver.
Yeah.
Because if all the eyes are on you and you shit the bed, you're done. Like, you may not recover from that. You may be just completely, because now everybody thinks you're nobody. You're not any good. You're a buy. You were a big, you were overhyped. And can you recover from that? And then the other part being, and then you got to come back the night after at the Raw after WrestleMania, and you got to run with it again. Even if you win, then you have to kind of like run.
You still have to keep carrying it.
Lots of pressure. And so but listen, here's the crazy thing. I've said it since the day I saw the 19-year-old kid or whatever the hell he was, in Monroe, Georgia, at the Felker Center at Southern Fried Championship Wrestling.
Oh God, that feels like
him.
a million years ago.
That was a shindig. I think it was a shindig. I pointed and I was like, that kid's a freaking star.
Yeah.
And
sure, see, we went separately because I had to work. I got there at intermission, and you were standing next to Terry Lawler, who had his merch table next to Theory. Okay. And I believe I bought a Theory shirt for one of the kids.
Yep.
Because he didn't have anything in my size. Because, nobody at the Indy table ever has anything in my size because I'm the only person that would buy it. So it's not like you got a large market for 5X t-shirts. Yeah. And the kid then looked like $1 million. And he looked like a superstar on the indie show. You could tell he stuck out like a sore thumb because he was cut. And he looked like a Greek god at an indie show at a tiny gym. This is before, this is back when Southern Fried was not drawing that many people. This was before it was really...
I don't know. I remember because Shindig was at the Felker Center next door. That's a pretty big building. It was a pretty big... I disagree. They were probably up there at that show.
Oh, yeah, maybe so. You're right. Maybe so. But I was just, you saw the guy and it's like, and even you were talking to Terry, and it's like Terry, who probably has seen more wrestling than any other human being on earth. I think maybe Gorilla Monsoon might have seen more wrestling than Terry Lawler. Maybe. Okay. And Terry's like, yeah, he's a star.
Yeah. It was pretty obvious even back then. So I think there's a lot, more to the story of Austin Theory in WWE. And I think, it's cool that we're finally going to see the match we thought we were going to get last year and so forth and so on.
Oh yeah. This is them showing they have the belief that he's going to do it.
Yeah.
They would not put this match on and bring Cena back because, you know, they had to pay Cena a fortune to get him to come back and do this.
They already pay him a fortune. They have him on locked with a minimum guarantee. I think somebody was like, dude made like $3 or $4 million to wrestle one match last year. So he's getting plenty. I think he's okay. He's scraping by. He's going to do all right.
Yeah.
But listen, let's jump into the other company a little bit before we get too far down the road. AEW had their big pay-per-view. Revolution
did great.
We want to make sure we dive into that a little bit. I know it was last week again. We recorded Sunday prior, which is weird that they did theirs on a Sunday night, and we typically, so it's usually Saturday night, but blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm getting used to the Saturday night pay-per-views. And I think with the kids and everything, I think it's getting more common.
Look, lots of stuff that you can discuss on that pay-per-view. Everybody, look, it seems to be getting, as far as reviews-wise go, and I'm not talking just that one guy. I'm talking about, like, everybody, friends and everybody, us included. Like, it was one of the better shows they've done in a long time as far as the pay-per-view goes. By the way, just for the record, because the match I, of course, want to talk about the most, I don't like Iron Man matches. I just think, like, because they're a waste, because I'm like, I'll walk off. I don't need to watch the first 55 minutes. I can come back and watch the last 5 minutes, and I'm good. Now, it turned out I would have watched, like, the last 15 minutes of this one, but whatever. Because, of course, they do the overtime thing. We had different variations on, like, it's the funny part. I think I enjoyed the match more, and I'm not a fan of the Iron Man match concept.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I run every Iron Man, and this is just where I am. I run every Iron Man match up against seeing 100 years ago, a 30-minute Iron Man match. It was Slim J and Jimmy Rave. Once again, it was on a Southern Fried show. And I think that's probably the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. Two of the best wrestlers ever, in Georgia. Iron Man matches are super hard to do because not only do you have to keep a match going for 30 minutes, you have to work it out so the pins fall in the right order, and you always have to, at the last minute, you have to get the falls right. And they had a overtime. How the hell do you do an overtime?
That's the old Brett Shawn thing. They did it years ago where nobody had a pinfall for 60 minutes, so then they did the overtime, and Shawn picks up the win or whatever. Listen, I think, by the way, guys, this is kind of my point that I will pound until I'm, great matches are good. If there's no story and you're not invested, I'm not saying there are fan base. There is a fan base, not there is a fan base out there. If you just give them a good match, they're happy. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I mean, because you know why? I can see a bunch of good matches on an indie show. I can. I can throw two guys in a ring and they're going to give me a good match, and it's not as uncommon as you would like to think. But if you give me a great story that I'm like all in on, like this one, and by the way,
you grew up on Dusty Rhodes, okay? For Christ's sake, Dusty didn't just get it in the ring and have matches.
But here's the thing, man. Steamboat and Savage, everybody likes to like the match and say, oh, it's a great match. No, you were invested because of the story. Flair and Steamboat, oh my God, it was the greatest match of all. No, you were invested into the story of Steamboat, trying to capture the championship, vice versa. Dusty, it was always because Dusty was having to fight from, like, oh my God, he's always got the odds against him, and the Horsemen or the Kevin Sullivan and the, his evil people, down in Florida. Like, he was always trying to fight, his way against the numbers.
Kevin Sullivan would, as a kid, terrified me. So whenever Kevin Sullivan was working a program, you were really terrified that he was going to kill your hero.
Yeah.
When he was coming after your hero, you were scared, and that was how things worked. They built this storyline, and you got invested. You didn't give two shits about the quality of the match.
Right.
You didn't care how many stars it would have got. It could have got 1 star. All you cared about was your hero surviving and that evil devil not killing them.
So that's kind of our point, though. That means, like, I get it. One of the most, and look, this is not going to be loved, I'm sure. I don't care. Like, you know, we're going to go out there and steal the show. That's awesome. People won't remember your match in 6 months. They won't.
Well, somebody else will do it.
Because somebody else is going to come out there and steal the show the next show, and it'll be better than your match. Because they're going to do something that, oh, we saw them do this. It's new, so we're going to do something this, you know, and it's going to be better.
Super kick.
Well, I just, there's always something, right? It's just, you know, the best match is to steal the show. By the way, if it ain't Mania that you're stealing the show, nobody's going to remember in 6 months. Give them the story. Give them something. And I honestly thought when we originally we heard Brian, MJF, Revolution, I'm like, they're going to give us this really good match without much of a story, and I was wrong. Because then MJF does what he does, and he drags the family in, and he starts making it personal. And Brian Danielson, you know, I'm going to hurt you where you can't pick up your kids, and I'm not, you play with your kids, or blah, blah, blah. And then the story continued, by the way, post the match. Danielson explains why he tapped, because that little bit of fear about picking his kids, you know. So I was like, okay, they did a really great job with this, and I think that's kind of what I wish more people would get into. The great match itself doesn't mean a whole lot if it's just it's the show stealer, you know. It's the match, you know. Everybody's gonna go home. I promise you, your casual wrestling fan in 6 months won't care. And I've given examples. I've told guys all the time on the indies, they remember you because you entertained them. The greatest, you know, game. Anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but so point being, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that match on top made the pay-per-view. Enough said.
Because you cared about it.
Correct.
You wanted to see what happened. You wanted to see if Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson would survive. You wanted to see how that badass MJF would do to him.
I thought Bryan was going to win. I had him last week. We were picking people, and I picked him to win. I was like, dude, why? Yeah, he can't lose, right? He's Bryan Danielson. He's the American Dragon, best wrestler on the planet. On and on and on. And MJF is like, you know, no, he's now making the argument he's the best wrestler on the planet. And you could make the argument that he is.
I'm still not warmed up to the whole concept of the post-match press conference, but he killed me with that pickles bit. I died. Okay. That was good. I know it was a CM Punk stab, but where is Punk? Is he coming back? What happens?
Don't care. And that's, by the way, that's not a knock on Punk. I just don't care. I mean, it's not like I dislike Punk to the point that I was like, it doesn't matter. I think they're in a good place, even if he's there or he's not. So what do I care? If he comes back,
they're in a strong place
awesome.
right now.
I think they are.
They're talking about getting another hour of wrestling program, not another hour of reality TV. The word is they're going to get another hour of wrestling. So they've got their Wednesday night show. They got a Friday night show for an hour. They got all that internet content they're putting out, which I think is great because it gives local indie people or indie people all over the country a chance to get on YouTube.
Let me ask you this. What if you just use some of that content for the 1 hour? I mean, you don't have to.
You already got
it. You already got it.
Yeah, you already got it. But it still gets it on TV for more exposure.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think you got these people getting more exposure. Any exposure for wrestling to me is good for it. We talked about WWE, you see Smackdown going to like a streaming service, which I don't like because I think it takes away from the little kid that gets to watch wrestling on regular television. Because think about it, it's the only wrestling program.
That kid knows how to use streaming services better than you do.
I'm really good with technology.
I know.
Don't compare me to a little kid.
He's watching Disney Plus on the regular, or Netflix on the regular. So he's let me say he's as good with streaming.
Okay, as good.
Better.
I'll take. Not better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Don't compare me. Don't say a little kid's.
I know you're not get off my lawn guy as far
No,
as
I'm
technology
not what I
goes.
used to be. I'm not as good as I used to be,
Yeah.
or as I once was.
Yeah.
But I'm as good as I. That's a song, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
At least I don't leave my title belt on the back seat of the car.
Okay, he didn't leave his title in the back seat, but he did lose it nonetheless. Technically, in 3 days, Wardlow lost the TNT title twice because he lost it in the car where it was stolen out of the car, and then he would go on to Dynamite and he would actually lose the championship. And I don't mean physically; he would literally lose the title to Hobbs.
They're gonna start making these people turn in their belts at the end of the show like they do on indie shows.
Yeah, exactly. Just leave your belts in. Some of the indie shows don't do that, by the way. I think those people are crazy, but some of them don't because they like them doing videos with their belts, so they just take them around. But twofold. One, Hobbs. We've been big on Hobbs since he got there.
Oh yeah, Hobbs is terrific.
Now, though, he's going to have the leadership of QT Marshall. Yeah. The leadership, mentorship, call it what you will. But, you know, call it what you will, baby. There's nothing really, you can't go wrong, again, because we just referenced everything about the Nightmare Factory. But so there's a lot to be said for having that guy in your corner, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
Kudos for that, for sure.
Well, I think one of the most influential people in wrestling today, I think AEW was a good fit for him because it gives him a chance to cut his bones.
Yeah.
I think he'll really, because with Ring of Honor coming up, with what all they're doing with Ring of Honor, he has a position to become probably one of the most influential people in wrestling today.
Yeah, tons of it to go through, man. Look, I don't know that we're going to have time to get to the football thing because I do want to say. So make sure you are subscribing to us on YouTube. We talked about it earlier. Yep. Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, Tapped Out Podcast Network. Our handle on YouTube is @TappedOutPod, of course. More than anything, make sure you're subscribing onto the podcast. You're a podcast listener. But the reason I'm pushing the YouTube so hard is any bonus content, we will put it behind the paywall there. We also do some stuff just early behind there as well. Because the reason I don't know if we're going to have time, Myron, I want to talk about the weekend coming up. Where we're heading this week. I'm repping the gear. Southern Fried Championship Wrestling has a big show this weekend on the 18th in Monroe, Georgia.
Monroe Massacre.
That's right, man. 3. Lots and lots of matches going to be on that show.
Oh yeah, it's a dynamite card.
So I unfortunately will not be able to make that.
I have asked my daughter to take me. I don't know if many people know this or not. I am unable to drive due to some medical conditions. So I have asked my daughter to take me. I think she's going to go. I would look forward to my wrestling fans meeting my daughter. She is quite a nice young lady. Who would go. I am so excited about this card, folks. It's going to be awesome. If you are in the Georgia area and you don't go to this show, you're missing out. And then Sunday, there is talk not only of going to a new promotion that we have not checked out yet, of going to a new promotion and taking your grandsons.
Yes.
How epic will this be?
And that actually has been confirmed. We are going to head up the road to Colbert, Georgia for the first time to see UWF. I pulled the card up. Grapplers are going to be on there. Slim J's going to be there, believe it or not. Wrestling Curtis Coleman. Look, they put Scott Mason on the poster. I'm like, dude, I'm in. You want to get Nick? You want to get Nick in the house? Put Scott Mason on the card.
Yeah, big Scott Mason fan.
Look, Hunter James. I know he's brokenhearted because I said that and I didn't put his name on it. Nick Halen's already on the card. He's champion up there. So look, I'm all in. You give me those talents on that poster, I'm gonna check them out. We've been trying for a while, especially because it's super convenient. It's on a Sunday, and I do want to start taking my grandsons to some shows, and it's the closest, relatively speaking, to where they live. They live up in that area, so I was like, hey, it's a good one to take them to. So yeah, so Sunday the 19th, we're gonna check out UWF in Colbert. Super talented card, man. I'm jacked about it. I'm super excited about getting them, seeing how they take to it. Hopefully I'm not disappointed, and an hour into it they're not like, all righty, we're ready to go. no, because like they just have the, patience of, a fly.
Well, they're kid. I mean, they're young. How's the oldest ones?
Well, the twins, they're 8, so they're young, and, and that's who's going. So, it is what it is. I mean, and that's why
I didn't get to go to a wrestling show till my parents started talking about getting divorced, and my dad was trying to like win me over. So it was like I was 10 or 11, something like that, 11, 12, somewhere in there. I don't remember the horrible times on purpose, but
you just block it out.
Yeah, I think it'd be great for him. I think it'd be really good for him to get out there and see stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the talent on that card, yeah, definitely. I really looked at the shows that performed this weekend in Georgia. There were some great attendances, some great cards, great attendances. I love what IWE is doing. Action apparently drew a giant house.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see more about that. I haven't had time to read all the returns. I'm just looking at basically what I heard through the grapevine. I also heard from a very reputable source that a couple of promotions are failing, going under right now.
We'll try to get confirmation on them before we name them, because that's a tough
No,
one.
I'm not going to name. I hate naming stuff like that. Questionable business practices. One thing I've learned hanging around the wrestling business is, and also running one show, that everyone in the wrestling business is an expert. I think the first thing I would do if I were to start a wrestling promotion is talk to Bill Barons. Number 2 thing I would do would be to talk to Larry Goodman, because I think nobody else knows wrestling in Georgia more than those 2. And then I would start talking to promoters who promote successful shows.
How should I back? I would probably shuffle that order around. Because are you wanting to run a wrestling show, or are you wanting to make money?
Touche.
That would depend on the order of which you talk to somebody. Somebody said, I was like, if you wanted to actually make money, I would include Gary Lamb probably at number 1.
Oh, yes. Like I said, then I would talk to promoters.
Then I would talk to Gary first.
Successful promoters.
And then I would talk to, like I said, then you can start talking about the wrestling people after that. There's a wrestling pool that you can put there, but I always openly say, and here's the thing, some people think there's a condemnation of promoters who aren't out to make money. And this is the if you don't care, if you just care that you break even, because by the way, for the record, that literally was what the first thing we said was when we ran our show. Myron, I just don't want to lose money. I just want to break even. If at worst case scenario, I want to break even. I want to make money, but
we wanted to have fun.
But it was a vanity project, and it's okay to do that. Yeah. I say that to promotions that run on a regular. If your goal is, hey, I want to have fun with this, I want to do this, and if we can just break even and not really make money, that's okay.
Pay the boys.
Don't be ashamed of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, just make sure you pay the boys. Pay the people that work the the security and all that. Make sure everything's done. But after that, your goals are your goals.
Right.
If you want to make money, set the goals to make money. If you don't, do what you want to do. Do it for fun if you want to.
Yeah.
But do what you want. I mean, I would talk to Gary. This would be regardless of where you are. Gary is not primarily a wrestling promoter. Gary promotes shows. He promotes festivals. He promotes MMA. Regardless of what he promotes things. He knows how to promote things. Then I would talk to somebody who promoted wrestling. And somebody who knew the wrestling territory. Where would be the best place to run a show? Where are people welcome to shows? Where are people more likely to go to a show? What crowds? But if you jump in with both feet, you're less likely to listen to. I mean, if you jump in with both feet, you're less likely to drown, in my opinion. I would talk to, if you're wanting to run charity shows, there are people that know how to run charity shows in Georgia better than anybody else on the face of the earth, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
There are people who do a great job at all kind of different different facets of the business.
Yeah. So, but anyway, again, I'm heartbroken. I'm missing Southern Fried. We got a friend. It's her birthday, so we're doing an event for her birthday. So I won't be able to make it. I hope you get to go. You can scoop me in on everything.
Yes.
Let me know how all that plays out. I'm re-pushing it. If you could go. Like you said, dude, it was a great weekend. Action crushed it. IWE crushed it. Some other promotions had great shows. I'm excited. Look, Southern Fried, Ultimate UWF, call it what it is, UWF up in Colbert. I'm jacked about taking my grandsons to that. Look, it's a way for me to just have a different take. It's not me going as a podcaster.
Oh,
it's Grandpa. Grandpa's going to take the boys to go see
I can't wait just to watch them and see how they react.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be so cool, is to see somebody who's not taken in thousands of wrestling shows, who hasn't watched thousands of wrestling shows on television, who's not calloused,
somebody
and knows what the name of, huh?
They're an expert. They're smart to how it all works. By the way, pointing at myself, so don't take it as I'm insulting you, but there's a lot so to the point where, like, I'm starting to wonder, does there come a point when it's like you're too smart for your own good to watch wrestling? And I don't mean smart like legit smart. Like, I mean, like, you know too much about things that it makes it difficult to enjoy it. People are like, oh, no, I separate it. And then they criticize the shit out of it. I'm like, are you really enjoying it if you're criticizing the shit out of it constantly? Anyway, but that's what the hell do I know? Sorry. The Bill Burr's going to creep out if we continue to keep going.
Well, it's like Meltzer. Meltzer basically goes and watches his buddies wrestle and then tells us how great it is. And we go and watch our buddies wrestle and tell people how great it is.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Right.
We're all full of shit. And we all go watch our buddies wrestle.
Yeah. Or we just promotions they run or whatever.
Yeah. We just don't make any illusions.
Yeah. So anyway, well, brother, that's all I have for this week. You got anything else you want to address? I wanted to talk a little Aaron Rodgers. I wanted to talk a little Mar Jackson, but I literally looked at my phone.
Put it in a separate video because it's complicated as shit.
I may, because I just saw a trade that looks like it's about to happen, potentially. So I'm like, all right, this video needs to wait. This portion of the show needs to wait. So, yeah, we'll keep that.
Love y'all guys. Thanks for listening. Can't wait to see the wrestling live. Can't wait to see people in the stands. Can't wait to see everybody that listens. Can't wait to see people who don't listen, and we can win you over.
Yep.
Well,
good
night, folks.
Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I got nothing and you got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.